CNN, I know, investigates the rise of extremism in the United States. Oh, good.
Let our people go!
Guys can protest and say whatever you'd like from the comfort of the sidewalk and the car.
Trump is your president! He's no prisoner!
Please do not try and come across the street.
Tony, I'm right behind you.
Ah, there we go.
This is your enemy list.
This is the deep state target list. Just a portion of it.
Who's target number one?
There's a huge disconnect between the narratives and angles that sort of mainstream media pushes and what the American public feels.
This is like McDonald's making a show about why are people so fat? Why is everybody so fat and unhealthy now? How the hell did this happen?
I'm not sure yet if you are or are not on the deep state target list because I haven't consumed all of the information that you've put forth to determine what your status should be.
Well, we've been hanging out
as we ruin you.
Oh.
As you what?
Oh.
What's your documentary about? Oklahoma City, or is it about Waco?
Well, it's about extremism in America.
I love how there's the implication that these different terrorist acts are being carried out by these people. Like there's any link at all between like the psychotic Waco cults and like fucking Trump supporters. It's crazy. Like the level of messaging here is unbelievable.
Okay, so stop talking to me.
My fans would love it if I talked to you out, but I can't do it.
So you could make the gun.
And then you have the implication in order to create the parody of violence between a person who's willfully engaging in physical combat in a safe space in a ring with somebody else who's consented. And this is, I'm sure, going to be juxtaposed next to like people destroying Teslas and destroying property in order to show that, wow, look at this dangerous right-wing person. Like, cause I have to watch more of these because somebody needs to get the information out there with how absolutely fucking deceptive this is. I love lying to people. I love misleading them. I love tricking them. This is something I used to do all the time. And I would do this so much. And so I see this happen and I'm like, oh, I know what you're doing here. I know what you're doing here. I see where this is going. Yes. And wow, I did this all the time. Yes, and so that's the thing. You still do. I never lie anymore. I never lie. Of course not. And so I can recognize a lot of this, and I think a lot of other people don't.
So you could make the gun and the suppressor in a day.
3, 2, 1.
That's true.
I just don't like to be told you're not allowed to talk to this person. Like, why can't I talk to him?
There's a growing number of folks that want maximum punishment. Maximum punishment.
I think most people feel...
Well, yeah. And I love how also there's like a juxtaposition of like Luigi as if he's even talking about Luigi. It's probably not even about him.
Like violence is justified in certain instances.
They're dangerous individuals. Back up.
The only people that are supporters of Luigi are mentally ill women who are attracted to him. Nobody else is a supporter of Luigi.
America is founded on violence.
We have to fight back.
They want somebody to take on the system.
Right. Misinfo Nation, Extreme America. Misinfo Nation. This is made by CNN. I can't wait to watch this. The whole story. I'm sure we're going to get the whole story. There's an extra to the docket. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Ooh.
The January 6th.
Of course. Of course. Back to the original sin. Yep, there we go. Something new and different.
Insurrectionists betrayed our country. Traitors! Traitors! Cowards! Traitors! Ashley Babbitt was a domestic terrorist! Traitors! Get out!
Ah, there we
we go. With the Capitol in the background.
Take a tree. They're so
General
stupid,
Flynn
huh?
unmasking, impeachment hoax,
Damn.
2020 election.
People losing their fucking
so this
minds.
This is your enemy list.
This is the deep state target list. Just a portion of it. Some of the high value targets, if you will.
What is this here? Biden laptop, January 6th, 2020 election, retribution tour. Oh, Mike Pence is on the list.
Who's target number one?
I'd probably say Nancy Pelosi.
Right.
Yep.
Ivan Raiklin is a far-right extremist.
Of course.
Yeah! Just hit the deep state, right in the heart.
So who do you think was ultimately responsible for the attack on the Capitol?
So I would say probably me. I'm the one.
President Trump retweeted a memo from an individual named Ivan Raiklin.
Oh my God. It's all going back to January 6th. Am I the only person that, like, can't we move past this? Everybody knows January 6th was bad. Anybody who thinks January 6th wasn't bad is just, they've been completely consumed by propaganda, right? They've totally left reality. You shouldn't be taking them seriously at all. What is this? Yeah, it's insane. I'm tired, bro. Yes, it's like the same thing every single time. 4 years ago. Holy fuck, man. Republicans fully support January 6th? No, they don't. How many of you guys voted for Trump and you thought January 6th was stupid? Yeah, this is this total false narrative. Yeah, what the fuck are you talking about? It's their 9/11?
Entitled Operation Pence Card, that called on the vice president to refuse the electoral college votes from certain states that had certified, that called on the vice.
What's wrong with this person saying this? There's nothing wrong with him saying this. This is just some schizo on Twitter that wants the election to get overturned. Are we really going to act like this is some kind of like grand threat? It's just some schizo on Twitter.
Vice president to refuse the electoral college votes from certain states that had certified Joe Biden as the winner.
So my legal strategy forced Nancy Pelosi to conduct the deliberate breach and facilitate the deliberate, incited entrapment of January 6th. That is why I'm responsible. Exposing the Nancy Pelosi Fed insurrection of January 6th.
He promotes the conspiracy theory that January 6th was a setup.
Some people call it a entrapment.
Well, isn't it defined that they intentionally didn't have extra people there, even though they wanted to have extra people there? And isn't it also defined that there were federal agents in the crowd? Like, I thought both of these things were, like, agreed upon facts. And also, that doesn't make January 6th okay. That's the problem, is like, and this is the issue, is that, like, people like this can never have an honest conversation because they're too focused on scoring points for their side and not in engaging in a degree of, like, rational discourse. Like, for example, just because there aren't a lot of police there doesn't mean that it's okay to break into the building. Just because there's a federal agent in the crowd doesn't mean that it's not your fault when you decide to break a window because the federal agent tells you to. But these things are, like, why can't people just look at reality? I don't understand this. I don't get it at all.
A Fed insurrection, a parliamentary coup.
Your shirt, it has a list of names of the retribution tour.
And he's got a retribution list.
The Biden laptop cover-up, the COVID-19 pandemic.
For those he believes have wronged President Trump and the American people.
Of course.
Jim Clapper, right? Mike Hayden, Brian Kemp, Brad Raffensperger. The list goes on and on.
I prefer the term retribution. Liz Cheney, we're coming for you. Adam Kinzinger, we're coming for you.
You mentioned Pelosi.
I love how, like, they create this parody between, like, this guy and, like, for example, the people that are burning down Teslas. Because, like, this guy is just swimming and, like, running around and talking. And then, like, the people that are at, like, there's never been a single clip of him being violent, destroying anything, breaking the law, or even being physically aggressive towards anyone. It's just simply him talking and saying, in my opinion, kind of crazy stuff, for sure. But, you know, he's not really doing anything wrong. But because you're playing this, like, scary music behind it, this is supposed to be comparable to people that are, you know, supporting a murderer with Luigi, which is, again, I think kind of just like a schizo movement. It's not really worth taking seriously. But the people that are destroying Teslas, I think, is very legitimate. I think it's very problematic. Is he wrong, though? I mean, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with what he's saying. Sure, he can say whatever he wants. I don't agree with all of it, but I mean, he can say whatever he thinks.
What do you think she would be charged with in this scenario?
I mean, it's a simple statute. This is treason. Yeah, absolutely. And I would like to see at the end of the due process, lawful capital punishment.
Will you be disappointed if in 12 months from now somebody hasn't been executed for treason?
I think the nation will be furious.
He says even I could be a target.
Yeah, so that's a pretty big fucking difference. Like, this is, and this is, again, this is the false equivalency that these people create, is that this person is advocating for an extreme judicial process, whereas other people are advocating for vigilante justice and terrorism. That's a very big difference. He's saying that he wants people that he thinks committed treason to be tried for treason. Other people just want to kill you. That's the difference. It's a big fucking, massive fucking difference.
I'm not sure yet if you are or are not on the deep state target list, because I haven't consumed all of the information that you've put forth to determine what your status should be.
Well, we've been hanging out
as we ruin you.
Yeah.
As you what?
Just like you ruined us. An eye for an eye. Look up Leviticus as a Christian man.
We have a problem with Jewish supremacy. We have a problem with a Jew.
Oh, here we go. Here is again, it's again the implications, right? All of the implications, as in, and by the way, a lot of people hate CNN. Like a tremendous amount of people hate CNN. And it's like, now you have a guy, let's take a look. How many people are watching this? Like, well, I can't even really tell because it's like super low quality. It says restreaming now, maybe 17K people have watched this. Oh my God.
Jewish occupation in our government.
Technology has transformed extremism in America.
It's your body, my choice.
A fire hose of hate is served to millions of us every day.
Yeah.
They are reviewing a purported manifesto.
Mass shooters publish manifestos online.
An absolute racist hate crime.
This is God's country!
Election deniers stream.
Again, it's January 6th again. And you'll notice this, that every single clip of like this right-wing violence, every single one of them is going to go right back to January 6th. And the big reason why is because when like one of these like mass shooters goes out and they like kill a bunch of people and it's turned out that they're a Nazi, nobody that's like conservative or right wing goes and makes excuses for them and says, well, you know, you have to look at like what his, you know, socioeconomic status was. Well, you have to see, you know, he was treated this way in school. They're like making excuses. Yeah, they do. Well, I mean, of course, there's a handful of people that do. Of course, you're right about that. But those people are radical extremists and they don't represent anybody else. And they are the very fringe minority and most everybody else pushes away from them. That's the difference.
Live as they attack the U.S. Capitol.
The problem isn't, and this might sound odd, is that the problem isn't the violence itself. It's the culture that enables and justifies it. That's really the problem. Because, like, I look at it as, like, you know, it's the difference between are you against the cookie or the cookie factory? Well, if you want to get rid of cookies, you don't get mad at cookies, you get mad at the factory that's making the cookies, right? It's the factory that's doing this. And so the culture that enables this and justifies it and tries to run defense for it, they're the ones that are really wrong. Trump seems to enable this, though. I don't know. I've never seen Trump say that it's okay to be violent towards, like, somebody. And Trump is, like, multiple times, like, what are you talking about? When has he said that? Trump denounced it immediately? Yeah, he said to stop and to go home immediately on that day.
The fringe is going mainstream.
And Trump is here to take down those satanic cabals, pedophiles. You know this already.
With the cute military army. Save the children!
Some believe we are on the brink of a totalitarian state.
Who actually runs the government?
Some believe our government is totally controlled by corporations or a cabal.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that believe that. That's true.
And some see themselves as crusaders in a fight for good versus evil.
Let's be the American people spreading the word of God.
So I've set out on a journey across the country to meet the Americans waging this battle.
This is basically the Mangione gun.
To find out if we really are getting more extreme.
Hey, you got the right idea.
Or is the extreme just getting louder?
Hey, get out of here.
We're not finished yet. We got a long way to go. But we're doing this on the very first day in office, and in just a few moments, I'm not only signing the release of the J6 hostages, I'm signing other things.
It's, again, bro, like, they cannot let this shit go. They keep talking about the same exact thing. Why should we? Because it's already over. It's over. It's already happened. Most reasonable people agree that it's wrong. That's it. Like, it's done. Like, for how long are you going to keep bringing up an event that lasted for a handful of hours? What is this? Like, I mean, people are so fatigued from hearing about the same event being used to compare to 50 other things that are bad. We never reconciled with it. A lot of people do not think it's wrong. We still talk about 9/11 in Oklahoma City, W. If somebody is using 9/11 as a reason to justify extremism and military action in the Middle East at this point, they would be considered a retard. Like, people are way past that. They are. And here's the reason why they keep fixating on January 6th. It's because they use January 6th as a comparison point for every other form of political violence. That's the reason why. It's the only it's the only really strong point that they have. So everything is referenced back to that.
You're gonna love. Oh, you're gonna be happy reading newspapers tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day.
After that,
Release those prisoners.
DC Gulag, let our people go!
You guys can protest and say whatever you'd like from the comfort of the sidewalk and the park. Please do not try and come across the street.
It's inauguration.
Wow, look at that. Trying to follow the law. What a surprise.
In Washington, D.C. And we're outside the D.C. jail where people have been gathering for almost...
See, am I the only person that, like, whenever I see people that are, like, crazy and they're not doing anything wrong, like, I don't really see that as a problem. But whenever I see people that are crazy that are doing things wrong, that's the problem. And I feel like this is, like, it's such a deliberate misrepresentation.
3 years to campaign for the release of January 6 convicts.
And for the news who wants to know, is it going to be the violent ones? It's going to be all of them, folks.
I have faith in my heart, brother, that all of you are going to be getting those calls from your attorney real soon.
Sherry Hefner is one of those campaigners. She takes calls nightly from imprisoned January 6ers.
What I can tell you guys is this. We are dressed. We have our bags packed. We are ready to go.
Oh my God.
At the same time, I was receiving
Why
a
are
call.
there so many American flags? It's crazy how the American flags have been used. Like, you can tell if it's a left-wing or right-wing protest, because if it's a right-wing protest, you have American flags. If it's a left-wing protest, you have a bunch of, like, identity flags and flags from other countries.
From inside the jail.
It's crazy.
Hello, this is a call from
What are the odds?
Powell.
Are we rolling?
It's a Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility.
Rachel Powell is serving time for attacking the Capitol with a pickaxe on January 6.
Yep.
Hey, this is Donnie.
This is Donnie. How are you?
I don't know because I'm still in here. You know, but I was told that with him signing the pardons today that I should be out tonight. But I'm still staying here, and so I'm nervous.
But not everyone here is excited for the prisoner's release.
Did you ever think we'd be in a place where just hours from now...
I did not think they would get out, ever.
J6ers are going to walk out of here free?
Absolutely not. No, I could not. I would have told you, you're an idiot. That's never happening. But here we are.
Bree Chapman is one of the few signs of the resistance here in Washington on this inauguration.
I find this to be very funny because I don't think CNN realized this. Actually, that's not true. CNN absolutely realizes this. There's smart people that work at CNN. This is probably going to be this is going to create more extremism than, anything else really will. Is because, like, this is like the emotional framing, and where it's like, okay, this one lone person that's like standing against these people, it's like they're the resistance, etc., right? And this is the real rise of extremism, is by mainstream media selective reporting, and also double standards that are completely obvious, but they're unspeakable to discuss. Like, you can't discuss these obvious double standards. And that's the big issue. It's giving people a visual. Yeah, exactly. It's gaslighting. It's massive gaslighting. Stop enabling Karens. Well, it's okay for her to do this. Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, Ansrock and Boogle Boys are not real threats. Who are the left-wing equivalent of McVeigh, Dylan Roof, Anders Breivik, or the 8chan guy in New Zealand? Well, the difference is that, so here's the problem, is that the difference is that all right-wing people can come together and condemn any of those people that you mentioned, but left-wing people can't come together and condemn the just unrepentant, regular, widespread violence towards Teslas and people that are supporters of Tesla or Elon Musk or Donald Trump. So, like, that's the big difference. Like, I agree with you. Yeah, there are bad actors on both sides. For sure, there's bad actors on both sides. But what the difference is that there's only one side that's constantly playing mental gymnastics to pretend that they're not bad actors. And I think this is a great example of it, is that this person is the resistance. It's the framing of it.
Nice. She's been counter-protesting at Freedom Corner for years.
I would come down here with a megaphone. I got very personal. There was a lot of protesters for MAGA that will just, say like Trump or generic stuff. But I have spent, I think, going on 3 years focusing on these people.
In 2022, she destroyed a memorial for Ashley Babbitt, who was killed by
This is insane. Who does this? And this is the person who's part of the resistance, who's kicking over flowers at a dead person's memorial? This is the resistance?
Police on January 6th after entering the Capitol.
Mama Mickey, we love you, honey.
Ashley's mother, Mickey, founded the nightly vigil outside the jail.
Where you at, Mickey?
Is the point.
Who does that? And again, the problem with this is that she is being framed as the reasonable person, and the other people around her are being framed as the extremists. But I'm sorry, filming a video of you stomping on the flowers of a memorial to, and then shit-talking the parent of the person who got killed. This is sick. It's sick. It's so weird. Who does this?
To make their life hell.
It's not to make their life hell. They're making our life hell, and they're dangerous individuals. Here he comes.
Who are these guys?
This is Oreo Express. He was actually at the Capitol on January 6th.
He's the one that
and this
threw
is
the
his
flowers away on the Capitol.
Ashley Babbitt. I actually stomped on her memorial. Anyway, this is
Trump. Who does this? Like, I feel like, for example, if somebody had gone and, like, you know, fucked up a George Floyd memorial, I think most reasonable people could say that's kind of fucked up. You shouldn't do that. That's not being a resistance. It's just being a fucking asshole.
Is your president? Trump is your president. J6ers are being pardoned. J6ers are being pardoned. Yeah.
There are two groups of people in this world that are the cause of all of our problems.
J6ers are
Yeah.
Are you
okay with this? I'm fine. Let them show themselves.
She's a psychopath.
And here's Ashley Babbitt's mom, Mickey.
They all know that. They've been here. Where you
I know,
been? You're
I know.
late, bitch.
I've been here all day. I was in the bar with you, Mickey. You didn't even see me.
Back up.
I saw you drinking.
Back up.
I saw you drinking alcohol in the bar.
The insults go back.
What?
Back and forth and back and forth.
Talk about stalking. Talk about stalking.
Move.
Before a police officer eventually intervenes.
Thank God.
Is it a trespass order? You know my name.
Yeah, you know my name. Yeah, he does. So this guy has to micromanage these unemployed Karens. And I think this is the real this is the real separation here, is that you have the working class and the real middle class that is set. Their job is to mediate these childish, insane disputes between these overprivileged Karens so they don't go and tear each other apart. It's embarrassing.
Sergeant Jackson. For my own safety, that's why we're doing this.
Go take care of your kids.
Despite Trump's orders, it's getting late, and there are no signs of prisoners being released.
We need to get the marshals. The guards inside are threatening force against our men, and they are messaging out, begging us for help.
Tony, I'm right behind you. Tony O'Sullivan, who's outside the detention center, where some people may be released. Tony?
Hey, Anderson, yeah, in the last few minutes, all these demonstrators all rushed towards the main...
Yeah, they're rushing. They're standing in front of the door, protesting outside the door. Yes. And you're playing the dramatic music as if like, okay, oh my God, they're about to siege the Capitol again. Yes, of course. They've rushed the door. Listen, I'm telling you, half of these people on Social Security, they're not rushing anything.
Door of the jail. We're not sure quite what is happening. Some of the people inside this prison are hoping to make it to the inaugural balls tonight. They have been told that if they are released... Yeah, okay. We're going to move down here, Anderson.
Put the press back. Push the press back. Everybody's right here. Everybody back up. We're back where we were.
What's happening? Nothing?
You're an hour and a half until this happens, guys. Back up, please. Set it up on the ground. Back up on the ground.
The night went on, but the releases never came.
I was told.
Well, yeah, they weren't able to release everybody because of logistics. Like, it's reasonable that it would take a couple of days to release a bunch of prisoners because there's a process and a protocol for it. It would take time. This isn't some kind of crazy fucking conspiracy or anything. It's just logistical reality. Of course. Yeah, there's paperwork and a process. Like, they can't just... It's not like this is like in The Dark Knight Rises and all the fucking jail cells let up and they're like, all right, boys, time to destroy everything again. Let me at him. Yeah, it's not like it's Bane that did this.
They'll let us out in the
What's going on?
if they have done it tonight.
Is it sinking in now that, you know, you're going to be a free woman soon?
Okay, go back to when you're 6 years old and it's Christmas Eve and you know when you wake up in the morning Santa will have left gifts for you. That's how I feel right now.
Yeah, I'd be happy if I got...
The next morning, Christmas arrived.
Yeah, wow, big surprise. The day after they let the people go because they weren't able to do it at night for logistical reasons. Wow. What a shock.
Glory! Hallelujah! Thank you, Lord! We always said you're a true patriot. Oh my goodness.
Across the country, January 6ers were set free. And not just people like...
A lot of them should have been set free. Some of them shouldn't. But the people that just walked inside the Capitol building, if they had been charged for a crime and sentenced, they probably would have been in jail for less time that they spent in jail in the first place. Like, I think that anybody can understand and agree that someone being violent towards a police officer or destroying property or stealing, well, that probably shouldn't have been released. At least a lot of them shouldn't. But the fact is that I know what these charges are in a lot of cases, and usually it's 2 to 5 years. 4 years they were locked away. Yeah, exactly. Like, they act like this is some sort of like deferral of the justice. Like, there's two things, right? Number one, they act like it is a some sort of like misuse of the justice system, which is it's not. It's simply the way that the president executes pardons. That this is always how it's worked. It's literally the game mechanics. And number two, a lot of these people, yes, they should not have done that. And I think I have no problem with them spending some time in jail. But if they had been charged for this crime, they would have already been out by now. Both things are true. Pardons are just retarded. Yeah, I mean, you could say that, right? But it's still the game mechanics, right? That's still the way it works.
Rachel, but leaders of extremist groups, Proud Boys, 3%ers, Oath Keepers.
I feel vindicated and validated.
Many with no plans of going quietly into the night.
What is the implication of that? That, like, they're going to go siege the Capitol again? That they're going to go and, like, be terrorists? Or they're going to go destroy a bunch of stuff? Like, they wouldn't go quietly into the night? What do you mean? So what is that? What are you saying by this?
The dream team, we're back.
The worst thing they did was put us in prison because I'm now friends with all the gangster disciples, the Bloods, Crips, all those guys in prison. They love us.
Big O's back.
I hate to tell you guys this, but I had a friend that voted for Trump from prison. And there were a lot of other guys that were in prison that voted for Trump. A lot of them. Felons? Yep. Absolutely. Lining up to vote for Donald. Felons can't vote? No, they can in some places, not in others. I thought that too, and then because he's a felon, so I'm like, how the fuck did you vote? And so I looked it up and I found out.
People say you're the guy that put your feet on Nancy Pelosi's desk. It's just not true. I put it on the people's desk.
Amen. Yeah, I got a criminal news network photographer, maybe a reporter. I wanted to ask you, sir, your buddy Donnie. I'm working here. Is he still in the ER?
And for at least one man,
you are now on my radar.
It was a sign that the retribution was about to commence.
I'm going to be scrutinizing you.
I love how, like, this entire thing is that, like, you know, you have MAGA Rorschach, that you have, it's basically like the entire story is built around him being this, like, crazy person. And, like, yeah, he's kind of a fucking idiot, right? But at the end of the day, like, he's not really being violent or anything like that. Like, I mean, am I wrong? Really, am I wrong? No, I'm not. And everybody knows it.
To commence.
I'm going to be scrutinizing you.
But at the same time,
Free, free, Luigi!
it wasn't just those on the right celebrating violence.
Luigi! Luigi!
All women, by the way. I cannot wait to watch this. I'm sure it will be completely unbiased, and there won't be any edge on this at all. Surely they wouldn't just point it in one direction and then misrepresent things. Surely the what do you call it? The video, I'll link it to you guys, and I surely the entire preview is just simply showing one side, and they'll show the other side in the full thing. Sounds like a Free Palestine chant. Well, if you only know one emote, you've got to use it for different reasons. Yeah, there you go. I hate the cadence of the free fill in the blank. Bro, you sound retarded. Yeah, I know. But anyway, I just want you guys to see this. Like, it just came out an hour ago, so, like, I didn't even really know what it was. But, like, you know, I talk about this a lot. I think that nothing facilitates extremism as much as videos like this. I think that videos like this are massively divisive. And I think that they're divisive because of the way that they are intentionally, you know, misrepresenting the way that these things happen. And I think that they are... I think the media very rarely actually, like, publishes, like, you know, if they say something is blue, it's not red, right? But it's maybe a different shade of blue, or it's closer to blue, or they say it's dark blue and it's light blue, or they misrepresent, like, some other variation of it, right? And so that's what I've seen a lot with this kind of stuff. And when I see this stuff, I find it to be very annoying. Like, I really, really hate this stuff all the time. I've always hated it. And so, which guy would you rather have on your side? The guy in a mask crying rivers over the Switch being more expensive, trying to block your path, or discount Rorschach? I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't want to see any. I think these people are fucking nuts, right? I mean, that's it. And yeah, it's that simple. But you can see it's like the most unhinged bait for no reason at all. Yeah, it is. And this is what happens. It's very crazy for me to see this, but you can see how it's completely one-sided, except for the very, very end, where they're just showing a handful of people talking about Luigi, and then that's literally it. Like, completely one-sided reporting for this. This was relatively neutral. Well, okay, so when you say that it's relatively neutral, how do you... So, if you're showing a preview of this, what do you think the percentage was of the reporting? Like, for the amount of time that it was... Like, because, you know, like, they're talking about the rise of extremism. What do you think the percentage was between, like, you know, right-wing people that are extremists versus left-wing people? Like, what would you say the percentage was? Well, yeah, they only showed right-wing extremists. It's only a 9-minute video. So if they only showed one group, how is it neutral? How does that work? The second episode? Oh, they haven't had it out yet. Yeah, they said at the beginning it's going to be a full video. Mostly just one demonstration. They also showed a crazy left woman. They didn't frame people very much. You think they didn't frame people? I think they did. I think they did a lot. And I think if you go back and you watch the VOD and, like, the points where I emphasized, I think that they really did try to frame people as much as they could. And so I just want you to understand. So I want to get an understanding of, like, what you mean by it was neutral. I'm not saying it was completely neutral, but they didn't make them out to be monsters. Okay, so then what would you say that... Let me actually read this here. They only showed right-wing extremists. So basically it was all completely one-sided. So when you only show one side of extremism, do you think that that's really making a criticism of extremism or making a criticism of that group? Because I think that you're making a criticism of that group disguised under making a criticism of extremism. That's what I think is happening. Not very much, exactly. And so relatively neutral, 90% on one side? Are there neutral people, what do you call it, at the protest for the release? Well, no, but they filmed multiple other protests, but they didn't even show any of that. They didn't show any of that. They didn't show any of the Tesla stuff. They didn't show any of the other political violence either. They didn't contextualize this around the BLM rallies that burned down entire cities. They didn't show Chaz. They didn't show any of that stuff. And so when you're selectively showing one group of things and not the other group of things, you are painting a narrative that is intentionally misleading. That's what you're doing. You're controlling the narrative using omission. Yes, not telling people something is the same as they are, of course, biased. So, but they just showed these people peacefully protesting? No, they didn't. The reason why they couldn't show them being violent is because there's not enough clips of it to fit in the video. That's why they had to keep referencing the same event over and over and had to be about January 6th. So you're saying that they're biased. They only showed one side, but now you're being surprised that I hate CNN. Why would I not hate a news website that only shows one side of a conflict and are biased? Even you think they're biased. You're the one saying it. They could have made them seem way more violent. So here's a good question.
For help.
Tony, I'm right behind you. Joni O'Sullivan, who's outside the detention center where some people may be released. Joni?
Hey, Anderson, yeah, in the last few minutes, all these demonstrators all rushed.
Why do you think they started playing that music there? I think they started playing that music there in order to make it dramatic and make it seem scarier. Because that's what happens. Like, that's the way it is in any game. Like, you look at a horror movie, that's what happens, right? It's tense music. It's like a fast heartbeat music. Exactly. It's a hook. Exactly. And so anyway, so you hate Fox News? Well, yeah, if I feel like Fox News is misrepresenting something, then yeah, I would say it's bad too. And if I see them doing that, of course I would talk about it. Absolutely. Yeah, and also, like, because in my opinion, you are making a lot more of this than there is. I think that mainstream media is probably the most detrimental and corrosive force in politics. I think that it does more to push people apart, to divide people, to confuse people, and to mislead people than anything else. And when I see websites like this, or I see videos like this, I see the exact same thing happening. It's propaganda. It's intentionally misleading. These are the same people that put a green filter over Joe Rogan because he was taking ivermectin. And you want me to think that, like, I don't like these people. I think that they're dramatically misleading. You're already just as biased as any of those news networks. Who cares? Well, let me ask you something here. We can move past this. Anyway, what do you think that I'm biased about? What is like an example of that happening? Literally everything you read. Can you give me an example? I mean, if it's everything, you might as well be able to pick one thing, right? Go ahead and give me your platform to argue. Well, I think it's important to listen to opinions from other people. Yeah, of course. I have no problem listening to other people's opinions. That's okay. Didn't you call it the cats and dogs story and you made fun of the Trump rallies as well? Well, I didn't really make fun of the Trump rallies, but yeah, of course I called out the cats and dogs thing because it was bullshit. What's the logic that they're eating cats and dogs, but they're also being given $3,500 a month on food stamps? Why the fuck would somebody want to eat a dog if they're getting that much money? They're going to eat a steak. It's like it's like they cancel each other out. It doesn't even make sense. Voodoo? There's no evidence of that happening. And also, there's plenty of people that kill cats and dogs for all kinds of like weird Wiccan reasons. That's nothing that's new or unique to Haitians. People do that. People have been doing it. It's very common. People might not have heard this. How many of you guys have heard the advice to hide and like keep your cat inside if it's a black cat on Halloween, because people sometimes take them and sacrifice them? Because I remember like we had 2 black cats and we kept that in mind for sure. Yeah, and like hurt them, exactly. And so like, yeah, we did, yeah, exactly. Bro, you edged every Trump announcement. You think the tariffs are good, and nuking a stock market 15% to see it recover 5% is a good thing. Yeah, I think the tariffs are good for sure. I think that these countries, have advantageous trade relationships with us. And I think that a lot of the senators and the politicians that are against the tariffs are in most cases financially invested in the countries and also the companies that are benefiting from the unfair advantage these countries have against the United States. Yeah, that's what I think. And I think also, like, I think it even goes as far as other content creators as well. So, like, a really good example of this is that you had a lot of people that were memeing about Free Luigi, and they were talking about, like, how much they hate corporations. But the moment that Trump did something that actually damages corporations, they're crying about it. It's because they were LARPing the entire time, and they're just saying that to make people like them. But the fact is, they're doing it for money, just like everybody else. So that's really what I think. The United States is being taken advantage of, but we're simultaneously the world's leading economy. It's not even close. Yeah. So here's the problem, and I'm actually going to answer your question because I think that you're approaching it at least like probably 10 to 20% good faith, is that the United States being the leading economy is not entirely this is not entirely an evaluation of the country as a whole, and it's instead an evaluation of the top 1% of capital owners in the country. So when you look at the stock market going up and up and up, especially like, like 2020 onward, you see all of this growth and all of these gains and profit and money and value and capital, but these are not gains that are realized by the average American. And so that's the problem that I think that you have, is that you're looking at this graph, and I'm not looking at the graph. I'm looking at people. And when I see people that can't afford food, and I look at the prices of things go up all the time, and then I see the prices of the amount of money that people are being paid that goes up, like, everything goes up by 100%, and people get paid 20% more money. Well, then, big fucking surprise, things aren't going to go very well. So it means the example is you're the richest, you can't be taken advantage of. Well, I think also, like, and here it's sarcasm. No, I understand that, but like, I understand that it's sarcasm, but it's actually not. The fact is that you have people in the United States that are also taking advantage of the United States. That's called lobbying. That's the exact reason. That's the whole point, is that these are people who have taken advantage of the country. They've become multi-billionaires. They own these massive conglomerate companies that are also like dictating out like what you can and can't say, etc. That's legal bribing, exactly. And so when you talk about the United States being this massively rich country, you are right on paper. But the fact is that if you look at the backslide of people's individual purchasing power and the difference in like productivity versus wages, you look at the amount of income that's consolidated in the top 1% of people, we have one of the worst ratios in the whole world. And we even have one of the worst ratios, if not the worst ratio in our own history. So yes, it's people in the United States that are taking advantage of it. Absolutely. Gini index, yeah, that's one indicator of that. Worse inequality since French Revolution? I don't know about that, but I know that it's worse than in like the 1920s. I thought this was a biased argument. Well, what I'm saying is that like, but these are objective realities, right? Like it's an objective reality that almost all of the amount of money that was gained after like the COVID, recovery was gained in the 1%. Like it's a factual reality. Like there's no, like, you can debate this, sure, right? But like that's debating like if the earth is flat. It's just simply what happened. And so like that's really it. Yeah, 263% productivity wage since 2000 and a 100% wage increase. Yeah, of course. That's what he called right-wing edge, by the way. Yeah, exactly. not taken advantage of at all. The trade deficit's on goods only. If you consider services and military trade, it's massive in favor of the U.S. Yeah, but like I don't think that's a good thing. Like I don't feel like, you know, if you take into account the military industrial complex that doesn't serve any benefit to the average American, that trade is good. Like I don't think that's not a good argument to me as an American. He replied, "Okay, I'll take one more response. Average American quality of life is better than anywhere else in the world, brother. Yeah, it's only gotten better over time, regardless of what conservatives are trying to best to make it worse at every point." So I use this example, and I can go ahead and show it again. So if you look at, where is the, was it on here? No, I don't think it was. But anyway, I don't think this is true. And I think that if you ask a lot of people in America, was their life better, you know, like let's say 8 years ago versus now? I think the majority of them would say that it was better 8 years ago. And also when you can see like old TV shows where it's like one guy with like a high school education that was able to support a whole family and afford a house. I don't know how you can reconcile this viewpoint with the resounding frustration and anger that a lot of young people have because they have no purchasing power in the economy and there's never a light at the end of the tunnel. So how is it that you can have all of these young people that were groomed into indentured servitude through student loans, who have no future of any sort of career because it's being replaced by technology as rapidly as possible, and then they're just being told, too fucking bad, you live in the best economy ever? How does that happen? They're being outsourced? Yeah, I think that's exactly it. Those people have a skill issue? Well, if there are so many people that have a skill issue, maybe the country has a skill issue, right? If your country creates outcomes that are not beneficial for the majority of people at a high enough ratio, maybe the skill issue is you. It's kind of like if you have a video game and people keep getting stuck at one part of the game, maybe the reason is because that part of the game is badly designed. What do tariffs have to do with income inequality? I think that basically the lack of like middle-class jobs, I think primarily came through the removal of manufacturing and the ability to basically get a job without having like a 4-year degree. And so like you need people that can have like a 90 IQ and have a good job. And now I don't think that's possible. It destroyed the middle class? Yeah, exactly. Did you really ask that? Yeah. And so this is the big issue that I think a lot of people have, is that like they keep referencing like graphs and shit like this, but the truth is that a lot of these graphs are just simply not representative of what an average person experiences. Jobs won't even pay your degree worth anymore? Well, yeah, because they don't need to, and why would they? That's really the reason why. I think it just makes sense. So yeah, that's the way that I see it, and I don't think, by the way, I don't think that I talk about things in like a right-wing perspective. I actually think that a lot of this, like, especially like when I'm talking about economics, if you listen to what I say about the economics, the closest person to what I'm saying is Bernie Sanders. So how am I right-wing here? It doesn't even make sense. What, because I don't like people burning down Teslas? What a ridiculous thing to say. However, the way Trump goes about it isn't professional. It's very hard to justify. Sure, I think you can make that argument. Yeah, sure, that's fine. The issue isn't that Trump isn't wrong wanting to bring manufacturing back to America. Most reasonable people agree with that point, but if force that to occur in a time building infrastructure to facilitate the change, you're doing it at the expense at the same time with the same class that was disenfranchised. I feel like they're already disenfranchised. And I think also he's doing it and incentivizing them. That's why all those companies are talking about building factories in the U.S. And also, by the way, I don't think manufacturing jobs are going to come back. I think that really it's like kind of it's like a smokescreen problem. It's not real because, or it's a mirage, because the closer that we get to like manufacturing jobs, the closer we're going to get to automating manufacturing jobs. Machines will take over. Yeah, exactly. I think you came off as overly defensive about the video. Yeah, I am. I find it to be like, maybe this is like just a personal thing, but I really, really hate the, what do you call it? What's the best way for me to say this? I hate rhetorical manipulation. I do. I really, really, really hate it. And so whenever I hear it being used, I like, it's the same as like, you know, the, you know, clean, beautiful coal and stuff like that. It's disingenuous behavior. Yeah, it is. Exactly. But, yeah, the video is total propaganda. Yeah, I think so. It's an insult to intelligence. Yeah, I think so too. Automation manufacturing isn't 100%. Yeah, but it's enough to where like you can't rely on a job to get in that industry, right? That's what I would say. You claim to conduct yourself in that manner. You're criticizing. No, I don't think that I do that. Yeah, I don't think that I do. I mean, and again, if I did, I think that you'd have an example of that rather than just saying it in like some abstract sense. It's an insult to people that think that won't see through the propaganda. Yeah, a little bit, right? Definitely. You have a weak spot for right-wing manipulation against the left. Take their videos at face value, but be overly critical about videos like this. No, I think actually like that's not true. But one thing that I probably could emphasize more that's like to your point is that I think that like, for example, like the Doge stuff, I think that there's I don't think that it's just Democrats that are cheating the government, right? It's like, oh, Democrats are stealing all of our money. Of course, that's not what's happening. It's a lot of people doing it collectively. And so, yeah, that's really what I see in most cases. But yeah, I know I think that I could do a better job at saying that like anybody who is doing this, like regardless of like any affiliation, is still bad, right? And that's, I think, the biggest difference.